G'day and welcome to the GameFace SFNL Division 1 Footy Show. Will Hunter's my name, and joining me as he always does, Ben Lockwood on my left. Lockers, big weekend of footy.
It was, mate. It was indeed, Will. Yeah, some good results. A couple of teams moved into the top five. A couple of teams probably didn't get the result they were looking for and they've dropped out. So, yeah, interesting weekend and a massive weekend ahead this week. So, yeah, all good.
Absolutely. And no Robbo with us this week, unfortunately, but still plenty to get through. East Melbourne, they celebrated 100 years, a big night down there at the zoo. You were there. You'll tell us all about that in a sec. Sports Performance Tracking Player of the Day. We'll tell you who wore the GPS on Saturday. We'll give you some interesting stats as well, Lockers.
Yep, very good.
And a Bentley star plays his last game for the club for season 2019. We'll tell you who that is in just a sec. But first, we'll go to a GameFace app update. G'day guys, it was certainly a big week in SFNL Division 1 footy, and if you weren't on the GameFace app this week, this is what you missed. Lincoln Edmonds caught up with the coaches of both East Melbourne and Bentley to get their thoughts post-game. Plus, we spoke to Liam Sumner before his head-to-head battle with former GWS and Carlton teammate Jed Lamb, and we'll reveal his GPS stats thanks to Sports Performance Tracking. On match day, East Melbourne celebrated a comfortable 4-goal win over Bentley in the GameFace Live match of the day, and Morty Alex snapped a 3-game losing streak with an impressive victory over Port Melbourne Colts. In other matches, St Kilda City ran Dingley all the way in a tight one at the Den, while St Paul's and Cheltenham also took the chocolates over Hyde and Oakley District. Over to the ladder, and St Paul's returned to pole position, leapfrogging Dingley by less than 1% courtesy of their big win over Hyatt, while the Panthers and the Bloods jumped back into the top 5. Bentley, the big slider there, dropping from 4th to 6th. And in the stats, Rosella Will McTaggart maintains his lead at the top of the Division 1 goal-kicking table with 34 majors, while St Paul's spearhead Steve Muller sits just 3 goals behind in second place thanks to his bag of 7 on the weekend. And if you look at the best player rankings, Dingley superstar Danny Ades takes out top billing this week, just ahead of Cheltenham ace Dylan Weikart and Panthers defender Ben Timms. Of course, there's plenty more for you guys to check out on the GameFace app across all 4 divisions: seniors, reserves, men's, women's footy, netball, the works. So make sure you download the GameFace Record app for free from the App Store or Google Play today. Get your GameFace on. Yes, very nice job, and plenty happening in the world of SFNL Division 1 footy. Lockers, any results really stand out for you?
Morty Alec probably come to hand. I didn't pick him, so I'm in trouble there, Will, I think. I think I've lost another 6-pack to you. We'll go through that later on. But, yeah, Morty Alec kicking 15 goals. They've struggled to score in the last month of footy, but see the 2 forwards, Morris and Big Stevie Toolongs combined for 7 goals. So maybe they've turned the corner. Toddy Bastian, their captain, spoke to him yesterday. He was pretty up and about. Basically said it was all he's doing and he was fantastic and he's the reason they kicked 15. So
that sounds like Toddy.
Yeah, 100% sounds like Toddy. But yeah, good result for them. Obviously, St Kilda City changed of coach over the last 2 weeks. They've played Dingley at Dingley. It's probably the hardest road trip in Division 1. 4 minutes to go, they're only 4 points down. So they've obviously come out to play and played really well. So maybe under Matty Hoy might be the turning point they needed in their season. Yep,
happy days. And of course, it was great to see Stevie Muller kick 7 goals. The big fella back on the scoring list. Love seeing big bags of goals.
Yeah, big effort. Very good players. Kicked a lot of goals in this comp in the last 2.5 years. Very good effort.
And big Charlie Kelso, the new ruckman for Cheltenham, had a reasonable game on the weekend as well. Granted, Oakley District don't have a massive recognised ruckman, but he's working himself into a little bit of form, which is great for the Rosellas and their premiership aspirations, Lockers.
Yeah, well, 207 centimetres, he's not going to get smaller. So, yeah, really good effort for him, and he'll only get better. And, yeah, hopefully the can sales at Chelsea are going good so they can pay him the big bags of money he's apparently getting.
Very good. Alrighty, so as we said off the top, East Melbourne, they celebrated their centenary on Saturday night. A big night down at the zoo. We were there covering the East Melbourne and Bentley game in the afternoon. Myself, Lincoln Edmonds and, of course, John Donahoe for GameFace Live. They wore commemorative jumpers for the day, the Panthers, and they looked absolutely sensational. We saw those on the footy show last Thursday night. We were live out there on Thursday night. Fantastic night.
Yeah, it was. And look, good result for them. It's, always, it can always be a letdown, those games, if they don't get the result leading into the night. But, yeah, I didn't see the game myself, but I got there for the commemorative dinner and the 100-year celebration. It was a good night. I think there was about 15 or 16 of the guys that were named in the team of the century were there. Unfortunately, obviously, 100-year-old footy club, there's a couple of guys that are no longer on earth, so they weren't there, obviously. But Good night had by all. Lots of players there. The vibe was pretty good in the room, and it was a great way to celebrate their 100 years in their brand new club rooms. Will.
Speaking to Scotty Kirkwood during the day, they're expecting big numbers. They get a fair turnout.
Yeah, it was full. I think they had 150. Every table was full. So there was even a couple of people that turned up a little bit later that were sort of standing there towards the end of the night. So no, good night. Good night had by all. It was pretty hard getting home. Got home a little bit late and trouble off the boss. But anyway, that's life. That happens.
We've all been there. The first official function for that new facility, which, as we said a few times, is absolutely tremendous. If you haven't been down there, make sure you go down and have a look. It is a sensational place to watch a game of footy. Any names that stood out for you in the team of the century? Obviously, some fantastic players floating around in that side.
Yeah, look, a few that some of the guys in GameFace would know. Trent Hotton, ex-Collingwood Carlton player, was a terrific player at East Malvern and before that Taronga. He was named on a half-forward flank. The other half-forward flank was Ryan Mullett, who obviously only had 2 years there, but obviously had a pretty impactful 2 years to be named in the team of the century. And Matty Carroll, who was their last premiership coach from, I think, 2006 when they won the Division 2 flag, was named on a wing. So, it was, and they were all there, so it was really, really good. And big Ash Fernie in the ruck, who guys my age would remember playing against Ash. You thought he was big back then. He's probably only about 6'4", but he was a colossus back in the day for East Malvern in the ruck.
Very good, and obviously a fantastic vibe after their win over Bentley. An enjoyable night had by all. Who did a lot of the players stick around from the afternoon and get stuck in the festivities?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, Nathan Robertson, the coach, got up and spoke about where they're at this season and so on like that. Chris Carey, Nick Barry, obviously Ryan Mullett came back for the night. Mitch Ferguson, big truck or tractor as he's known in the club, was given life membership, so he was there. So there was probably 25, 30 senior and seconds players there. So yeah, it was a good night. Good night had by all. Will.
Who was? I love asking this question, but we spoke about Trent Hotton on Thursday night. Who was BOG on the aftermatch? I mean, I love.
Actually,
I love seeing blokes enjoying themselves after games.
Quite achiever. He comes across as a pretty straight sort of guy, but Lucas Hall was he was actually sideways at the end of it, so he really enjoyed himself. Trent Hotton, you wouldn't know with him. He's a good drinker as he was a good footballer. Big Gary Cranny, one of the bosses from the league, was there. He doesn't mind a beer or two. So no, it was a good night had by all.
Absolutely, and well done to the East Melbourne Footy Club for putting on such a fantastic event. And no doubt they're on to bigger and better things in the back half of the season. Alrighty, now we're on to the sports performance tracking player of the day. So match of the day, East Malvern and Bentley. We gave the GPS tracker, thanks to SPT, to Liam Sumner over the weekend lockers, and he's obviously been an ex-AFL player for a number of years. No stranger to those GPS trackers and those sort of numbers.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he performed really well. He had, actually knew Thursday night, but couldn't do it, say it live on a show, but he actually had the job on his mate, Jed Lamb.
Yep.
They played at GWS together and obviously at Carlton together, so he basically had a run with roll. And watching the video back today and speaking to yourself and others, he did a really good job on Jed Lamb, and he's running in really good form. Lamb doesn't get massive numbers of the footy, but uses it really, really well. He's probably the most highly skilled player in the competition, and he's really, really hard at the contest when he needs to. So yeah, he's having a terrific year and just enjoying his footy, which you'd love to see. Blokes coming back, playing in the park and enjoying it. So, yeah, well done to Liam.
Absolutely. And I had a quick chat to Liam before the game. And, he said a lot of those things you just spoke about. Let's take a look at that now.
G'day guys, Will from GameFace here. Thanks to Sports Performance Tracking, the affordable analytics tool that'll give you the edge over the competition. I'm with Liam Sumner, who's had a fantastic season so far for East Malvern. He's kindly agreed to wear the Sports Performance Tracker for today's game against Bentley. Liam, you're no stranger to these GPS trackers. You've worn a few over your AFL career.
Yeah, well, usually throughout the week for trainings, they monitor to see how much load you've done on legs and stuff like that. And obviously in games, they like to track how far you've gone and see where your high-speed running's sitting at now with sprint effort to max speed and total distance.
Fantastic. And what sort of stuff are you doing at AFL level? Throw out some numbers for us.
I think on average I was running about 14 to 15k a game.
Bloody hell.
I think my max speed was getting to about maybe 33, 34 k's an hour. So
Yeah, fantastic. And you're obviously chucking it on this afternoon and having a big game against one of your former teammates in Jed Lamb. It'll be an interesting battle this afternoon.
Yeah, it will be. Obviously, I played a bit of time with Lammy up in Sydney and back home here. Know him pretty well. Spent a lot of time with him away from the club as well. So I've got a bit of dirt on him, which might come out today. So yeah, no, it should be a good game. And after it, we'll have a beer and have a laugh.
Happy days, and obviously an important day for the club. Sitting 5th on the ladder and taking on the 4th place Demons. Important to get the chocolates in this one, mate.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a massive game. We've sort of addressed it. It could nearly be an 8-point turnaround game. If we go down, we'll be sort of sitting lower on the ladder. If we get up, we'll sort of stay around that top end of the ladder in that mark. So yeah, it'll be a good game. Bentley's been in some good form lately, so hopefully we can come away with the chocolates.
Beautiful, and you've been in some pretty good form yourself throughout the season. You pleased with it?
Yeah, been happy. I sort of started up forward, but Nath wanted me to come off half back just for a bit of my ball use. So yeah, it's been good. I mean, getting around all the boys down here, it's been good. They're been really welcoming and made me feel comfortable. So I'm enjoying my footy.
That's the main thing, mate, and obviously playing some good footy as well, which is fantastic. Of course, the sports performance track you're wearing this afternoon, and obviously looking forward to seeing you run Jed off his feet. What sort of numbers can we expect from you this afternoon, mate?
Oh, look, I think these games are a little bit different to AFL. I don't know, I'd be happy if I got to around the 10k mark or something like that. It's sort of, GPS is a sort of suit to the game. If it's a high stoppage game, you're not running as much. If it's a high ball movement, quick game, you sort of get the Ks up there. So I guess we'll just have to see how the game plays out and we'll see what the numbers are.
And if I can give you a piece of advice, steer clear of that middle. It looks boggy as hell, mate.
Yeah, well, my plan is to throw Jed in at the first minute, so we'll see how we go.
No, very good. And it was obviously the coach, your brother-in-law, Nathan Robertson, that's throwing you under the bus to put this on this afternoon. So time for you to show him what you're made of, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't nominate himself for it. He fancies himself as a pretty good runner, so yeah, I'll have to thank him for that.
No, very good. Hey, thanks for joining me, Liam, and best of luck for this afternoon. And thanks again to Sports Performance Tracking. They do some wonderful stuff. Hope it all goes well, mate, and hopefully you're singing the song at the end of the day, mate.
Too easy, cheers.
Yes, very good stuff there from Liam Sumner. Great that he could take some time out in the warm-up to have a bit of a chat. And yeah, interesting. He spoke about sort of what numbers he'd be expecting. Obviously, they're a little bit down on his AFL numbers as you'd expect out of the elite environment. But he said he'd be happy with around about 10 Ks on the day. He got to just under that, 15 metres, just under 10 Ks. So he's just about hit that mark, which is fantastic. And a top speed of 27.4 kilometres. So clubhouse leader in that space. We might run a bit of a competition, Lockie, see if we can find the fastest footballer in the SFNL. Of course, not a bad return given the, we'll call it heavy 8 conditions there.
Yeah, it's
Lucas Reserve there on the weekend.
heavy track, especially the far side of the ground near the creek there. It can get real heavy. So yeah, no doubt having a look at it Saturday night, and the centre's now turned into a bog heap, which I think it has at most grounds. Dingley's definitely heavy. Morty Alec's still in good nick, reasonably. They've obviously kept their pitch covered. So yeah, the grounds are surprisingly for this side of the time of the year pretty heavy at the moment. But there has been rain, and we need rain well.
Absolutely, and very good for the farmers as well. But taking a quick look at that heat map, as you say, the outer side or the river side of the venue, Liam didn't spend a fair amount of time on that side of the ground.
Is that down to him or maybe Jed Lamb not wanting to go in the mud?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, Lockers, but no, he's done very well. And big thank you to the guys at Sports Performance Tracking for lending us one of those. They are fantastic. They do fantastic stuff, sports performance tracking, so make sure you get a couple of units for your club. You'll really reap the benefits there. Speaking of Jed Lamb, we spoke off the top. He's played his last game for the Demons. Where to for Bentley now that he's no longer in the mix?
Well, it's a big holder, Phil, because you look at the games they've won, and basically every time they've won, he's had a massive influence, whether that be on the ball or up forward. Last week against Port Colts, he kicked 6 from basically playing small full forward. So it's a big holder, Phil. They'll have to rejig and look at their forward line and how they take the footy in there, because he does play a lot of one-on-one footy forward of the footy and has been very good at it. So, yeah, they've got some challenges ahead. So their coaching team will go to work and see what they can do to cover him. But, yeah, big loss for the season. They're probably going to save a couple of bucks, though, from what you hear. So he was getting a few sheets, apparently, to play. So they'll get a little bit of a saving and maybe reboot with him again next year for 6 games or plus, hopefully for them.
Look, which they're entitled to do. I've got no qualms about that. Not sure I can quite, from my point of view, and this is just me on the outside here, I can't quite see the value in, getting a player of his calibre for just 6 games. Especially if you haven't sort of got a gate that you can sort of charge entry. I mean, we all know about these one-offs that, Travis Cloke did it early in the year down at Tyab, and, Favola's made a fair living off it around over the last couple of years. But the one-offs...
The host has done it,
yeah.
Robbo.
100%.
Robbo's been he was probably the pioneer of the one-off games.
Doesn't mind a
Robbo,
cashy.
So
Doesn't
yeah,
mind
the
a cashy.
cashies, he likes them.
But yeah, I'm not sure where the value comes from, given, even if they qualify for finals, he's now got to transfer off to, I think it's White Hills in the Bendigo League.
Correct.
He's not going to get back for finals, even though he's now qualified.
It's not for me. I don't coach anymore, so it's really my opinion's only my opinion. But I probably had a few opportunities over the years to do it and always knocked it on the head and didn't think it was a great look for your footy club. I can see where it works in country, small towns and so on like that. But yeah, look, it's not for me. It's not for, I wouldn't do it personally myself, but Bentley are going to argue and say they got good value out of it because no doubt off his own boot, he's probably won them a couple of games. So, yeah, look, each to their own.
If they can get him full-time next year, I reckon maybe
Bonus.
certainly worth the investment there. Alrighty, so now lockers. Some very nice new kit we've just been given from Swib's Locker. The new tops we've got, they look
unreal.
Absolutely tremendous. I know you're a big fan of them, and saw you rifling through the kit bag we've got down there, having a bit of a look at the beanies and all that sort of stuff. So
the beanies are very good, guys.
They are tremendous. So they do some great stuff. They're the best in the business, Swib's Locker. Don't worry about that. If your club's interested in looking at a couple of designs or stuff in your club colours, inbox the GameFace Facebook page and we'll send you out a couple of samples. Have a bit of a look. They're exceptional quality and your team will look tremendous in them lockers.
Unreal.
They're very good. So thanks to our great friends at Swib's Locker. Make sure you get around them. Of course, now lockers, it's the time of the week that everyone looks forward to. It's the Bendigo Bank Caulfield Park Division 1 Team of the Week. Why don't you kick it off with the back flank? Who's made it? The back pocket,
back pocket. So we've got Cameron Blitzes from Chelt, young fella, 17-year-old, having a fantastic season. Simon Black, Oakley Districts. I think it's his second time he's made the team. Going quite well down at Oakley Districts. And Mick Rogers from Bentley Footy Club had another great game. Utility, young captain of Bentley Footy Club. So, yeah, well done to Mick.
In the half-back flank, Ben Timms, I thought he was absolutely outstanding for East Melbourne and certainly one of their best. Will Clark from St Paul's, just an outstanding young defender. And Sam Haslam from Mordialloc, he's starting to hit a bit of form.
Going well. Very, very good player. Highly sought-after recruit for Mordialloc from De La Salle. On the wings, Lucas Wamsley, Noodles. Enough said about him. Fantastic player. Danny Aids. Just getting better with age. He's like a fine wine, Danny, at the moment. Just rolling along very, very nicely. Dylan Weikart on a wing. His last month of footy for Chelt has been fantastic. Obviously coming back from that higher level. I think he's really now found his level at Southern and is playing fantastic footy.
As good as anyone in the comp. Half forward flank, Matt Kremborg, again, continues to get the job done week in, week out for the Doggies. Mackenzie Bristow, slippery conditions, but really stood out with his ability to create a contest and kick 4 goals on the weekend. So sensational return in the wet for a big fella. And Mitch Clark from Port Colts, they got beaten, but he stood out with 3 timely goals and he's, coming back off a knee reconstruction and, a year and a half out the game. Certainly a young player to keep an eye out on the second half of the year.
He's very good. Notice he's actually just getting swung forward too. He basically started the season back. He's got his confidence. He's got unbelievable skills. He's got really good spatial awareness and he'll be a dangerous forward in the second half of the year, no doubt.
Did well down back too.
Yeah, very good player. Full forward line, James Morris back into some form with 4 goals. Steve Muller, 7 big ones. So, yeah, clear standout as full forward for this week. And young Josh Swift in the pocket from the Hyatt Footy Club. 4
goals in a losing game is not a bad return there for the young fella, so very well done. Charlie Kelso from Cheltenham made the ruck position, and you know what, beat some very, very stiff opposition for that place.
Spot.
Of course, Nick Halliday had a great game for St Paul's, and of course Chris Carey and Mitch Smart, they were both exceptional in that role on the weekend as well. Todd Bastian from Mordialloc and Liam Sumner, the other on-ballers, as we spoke of.
Yeah, and Toddy told me he played really well, so he won't be disappointed, our mate Todd. Interchange bench, Ben Cooper from Bentley Footy Club, Paul Fry who I said last week we might win the Alice medalist. I'll probably might win the Alice medal this year. I'd still say he's now absolute favourite. Ryan Semmel, we've sung his praises enough. Absolute ball magnet and extraction specialist out of stoppages. And Brendan Dawes back. I think he's second year back from Seaford. Makes it this week for a great game.
Fantastic. And of course, Paul Fry kicked our recognition ID goal of the day. Swooped, got the handball out, and then drilled one from deep in the pocket. Wobbly drop punt, and I still can't believe that went through. So fantastic effort to you, Frizy. All right, mate. Now it's time for the round 10 fixtures and tips brought to you by Melsafe. And a massive week.
Melsafe.
Melsafe. Very good. Massive weekend of footy lockers.
This is, without doubt, the best round of the year so far. Every game has a pivotal importance, whether it be the top playing each other, the middle are playing each other, and then basically at Oakley Districts and Hyatt in a what you call an old-fashioned 8-point game. They get the break on their opposition for that danger zone and maybe give them a bit of breathing space from the relegation. But yeah, every game, Dingley versus Chelt, top two, Bentley versus St Paul's, it's pivotal for Bentley, and always key rivals. Mordialloc East Malvern, which I actually think is at East Malvern, isn't it? Because they swapped it around earlier this year. So at East Malvern again, they've both snuck into the 5 this week. So massive game for them to get a break. And then St Kilda City, Port Colts, can't get more local derby than that. And
they don't like each other.
They don't like each other. And the side that loses that game, that may be it for them for 2019.
Very good. So ramifications are plenty. Let's kick it off from the top. Dingley versus Cheltenham, 2 versus 3. Massive chance for both these sides to secure the double chance. What are your thoughts?
I'll stick with the Dingoes at home. They've probably had the wood over Chelt over the years, so I just think it's a really, really tight game. It'll be a great game. That's the game I'm probably going to earmark to go have a look at. But Dingley in a close one.
Yeah, I think so too. They have had the wood over Cheltenham. They've been competitive in every game they've played against Dingley, but they've just lacked that ability to finish it off when needed. So I'm going the Dingoes. The relegation battle almost. Oakley District versus Hyatt, 9th versus 10th. Oakley District sort of been a bit up and about. Hyatt losing a couple too many players for mine. I'll probably go Oakley District at home just.
Yeah, I'm probably with you there, Will. I think Oakley Districts, I think big Jakey Mullen might come out and kick a more than a handful. I'll say Oakley Districts to win, Jake Mullen to kick 9.
Big call. Big call. They've been competitive in games too, the Districts, but have lacked the ability to just close it out. Bentley versus St Paul's, no matter where these sides are on the ladder, it's always a little bit of a close one. The local rivals, they don't see eye to eye in a lot of things. So the Battle of Bentley, how are you seeing this one play out?
Again, be another close game. As we said, this round is pivotal. I'll say St Paul's. Jed Lamb out of the side. Who's going to kick their goals now at Bentley? Corbett Sutherland is going to get more pressure on him as that small forward. So, I just think St Paul's have probably got a bit too much firepower and probably a bit too professional for Bentley on this occasion.
I think they're top of the ladder for a reason, Lockers, and they should get this one. But it'll be interesting to see how the heavy track at Bentley affects their running game. But I still think they'll be too strong there. East Malvern, Mordialloc, 4th versus 5th. Must-win game for both sides if they're going to have any chance of getting the double chance.
Absolutely, yeah. Whoever wins this game will still be thereabouts for that 3rd spot. So I think both clubs will know how important it is. Always play pretty close games, always pretty tight contests. Go down to the wire. Last time they played, East Malvern were actually 6 goals up at one stage and got overrun from Mordialloc. So they'll be trying to endeavour to fix those fade-outs they've been having. So close game, I'll say a draw.
A draw?
There you go.
Controversial. I'm going to tip East Malvern. I think they're now starting to get it into gear. I think the win over Bentley last week was probably the real impetus to really go on with it for the back half of the year. Chris Carey, Paul Fry, sensational form, probably be too strong. St Kilda City and Port Melbourne Colts, the local derby.
Yeah, good game. This will be a really close game. Chris DeLuca back for Port Colts, so no doubt he'll be fierce at the contest from the start. St Kilda City like it hard and tough though. They've got some good inside players. I think we've got Matty Hoy on the program next week, so he'll either have a smile on his face as a 3rd game coach, or he'll be won't be too happy. But again, super close game. I'll give Port Colts one more chance.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Colts as well, I think. Obviously, DeLuca back in the side's a massive, massive in. He's one of the best players in the comp when on form. He is a star. But, of course, Matty Hoy has got the Saints playing an interesting brand of footy, a very good brand of footy, and obviously serving it up to Dingley last week. They're in good form, but I think the Colts will be too strong. Alrighty, and having a look at last week's tips.
You got me again, Will. You got me again.
5 out of 5. Lockers 4 out of 5. The difference being Morty Alec and Port Colts.
So Port Colts, don't let me down this week. I keep backing you. You need to get me that win.
You've heard the man. You've heard the man. So that's, I think, 2 6-packs now up in the last couple of weeks. But it'll be interesting to see how this battle plays out in the back half of the year. Alrighty, that's all we've got time for on this week. Thanks again for joining us, Lockers, as you always do.
Mate.
Absolute superstar, this man. Make sure you download the GameFace app. It's got everything you need to know for community footy, live scores, ladders, fixtures, results, the works, news, whatever, you name it. It'll be a big weekend of Division 1 footy coming up, Lockers.
Unreal.
Plenty to look forward to. We'll catch you again next week. Bye for now.
Get your GameFace on.